Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Roman, and I am going to recap day zero of E3 2014 Electronic Entertainment Expo for you guys. It's 2:30 in the morning. I'm extremely tired. I wanted to get this video done earlier, but I ended up going late night shopping with my dad. So that was loads of fun. Anyways, E3 day zero. It's not day one, but I'm just going to call it day zero because that's what it's technically called. And E3 we kind of figured what was going to come this year, and we kind of figured what was going to be there. There were a few surprises here and there. Didn't really expect to see that game. A few indie games popped out at me. I'm not going to try and run this video too long, but mainly today was the big four conferences that everyone really is really paying attention to. Nintendo should be paid attention to more, but the big four are always there, and that's Sony, Ubisoft, EA, and Microsoft. Microsoft started the day really early in Mountain Time at 9 o'clock. So Microsoft started, then EA, then Ubisoft, and the day ended with Sony. So straight up, just to start things off, Microsoft and Sony were the two best, and I won't give you my grade for Sony yet, but I'm going to start off with Microsoft, and I gave Microsoft today a B-. Now, at first, I was like, Microsoft had a pretty good conference. It was very, 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 very good compared to last year's E3. Last year's E3, I gave Microsoft a D, and that was only because they showed a little bit of the console and Titanfall, and that was really it. And then this year, they came out, showed a few things, and everything that I saw from Microsoft, I knew was coming besides one game, and that was Tomb Raider. Lara Croft, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Did not see it coming. I was sitting there in my front room, and I was like, this is really cool. You can't really tell what it is yet. And then all of a sudden you see her pull out this pickaxe, and she hops on a cliff. And I'm like, oh my god, this is Tomb Raider. And then he says Lara, and it was awesome. Blew my mind. Did not expect to see Tomb Raider whatsoever. That was the big surprise that came out of Microsoft's conference. Everything else was so-so. I pretty much figured everything was going to be there. They opened with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and they told us, games, it's all about the games, and they promised us games, and they brought us games, and there's nothing wrong with that. They knew they screwed up last year, and they're like, we're going to bring games this year, we promise, and they did. Advanced Warfare looks great. It surprised me. Last year when I saw Ghost, I was like, Ghost looks okay, just like Modern Warfare 3. But Advanced Warfare came out, and it was a pleasant surprise. A few things I hope aren't in multiplayer, like the grenade that can seek out people, and this little radar beam that automatically shows everyone, and this laser gun that'll probably end up being a kill streak. This riot shield that where you aim down sights, it comes down, and just a bunch of stuff I hope isn't in multiplayer, but it surprised me. It looked very action-packed. His arm got cut off at the end. It was very brutal. I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the trailer. They showed a little bit of Battlefield Hardline. Battlefield Hardline was just like a little, I believe it was a CGI trailer. I don't remember. It was so long ago. And then they showed Forza Motorsport Horizon 2, a beautiful looking game. The only issue I had with it, they tried to sell it like we haven't seen anything like it before. And they sold like Free Roam and Day-Night Cycle, and it's like we got that game last year with Need for Speed Rivals. They don't have as many cars, but we had kind of already seen the game before. It had the McLaren P1 as its like premier car, and the McLaren P1 is pretty much the premier car in Need for Speed Rivals. So it wasn't really something we haven't seen before, but it looked beautiful. It looked great. I really, really enjoyed looking at it, and it had a lot of cars in it, so that was pretty cool. Then they came out and showed a little bit of The Division, and The Division, I believe, was also a CGI trailer for Microsoft. It was very well done. I really liked it. It was more of a like emotional trailer, and I liked it. And you actually felt kind of sad. You can hear the parents in the background crying about their our dying daughter because of this disease that's taking over New York City. I really liked that trailer. Dragon Age Inquisition. I've never gotten into the Dragon Age games. I've always been told to do so. Excuse me, if I get the time, I would like to. But at this time, don't have the money for this. I have so many other games on my mind, a lot of pre-orders that I'm getting ready to go out with, and I'm getting a job soon, and that's where all my money will be going to is those pre-orders. But Dragon Age Inquisition looks interesting. I wasn't like completely blown away, but it was pretty cool. Then Fable Legends. I've been hearing that it's not Fable. Excuse me, but it was still pretty interesting. I really like looking at it. I'd never really seen like what Fable is before. They showed The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Great looking game, gorgeous game, beautiful mechanics, great story, great everything. I really enjoyed what I saw out of Witcher. They showed a little bit of this indie game called, I think it's Ori. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Could be botching that, but I don't know the rest of the title. But it looked kind of interesting and sad, and it showed like this panda thing and this like little blue sparkle having to get away from enemies, and it looked like it could have been an emotional game. Showed a lot of love to some indie games. That's what a lot of people expected. Xbox has never really been high on indies, but they showed a lot of love towards indies this year, and that was by showing Inside, and Inside was absolutely stunning. I never played Limbo before. Now, a lot of people are going to get mad at me for that, but I've always wanted to play Limbo, but I haven't had the chance yet. I'm pretty sure it's cheap on PlayStation Store. I can go ahead and grab it whenever I want. But this game, Inside, it looks really interesting and really fun and really intense. You can hear this kid breathing and just running, and you can hear footsteps and just little faint sounds in the background, and that's really cool. It's an awesome game. It's not a horror game, but it's definitely something I would love to try out. Definitely caught me by surprise. And then to end things off here with the next two titles for Microsoft, Sunset Overdrive, which I knew was coming. All these games I knew were coming besides Tomb Raider, but Sunset Overdrive was so cool, so action-packed. At first it showed this like little CG trailer of this warrior, and I was like, oh my god, is this Homefront 2? And it ended up not being Homefront 2, and it ended up being this Sunset Overdrive. And now Sunset Overdrive I saw last year was a CG trailer only, and it was pretty cool. I really liked the concept of it. And then they came out this year and showed some gameplay at Microsoft's conference, and it was really cool. It was really interesting. It reminded me a lot of Gotham City Imposters. Gotham City Imposters was really fun when I could play it, but this game is just kind of more third person. You have a lot more crazy guns. It's really cool. I really liked the concept of Sunset Overdrive. It looks great. It looks really fun. It looks like a good time. It looks like a great time. Did it convince me to like say I need an Xbox One now? Absolutely not. And to pretty much end this off with the games that they showed, Microsoft showed the Halo Master Chief Collection. Now, a lot of people all their life have been like Halo 2, Halo 2, Halo 2, Halo 2, and Microsoft made up from last year, and I respect them for this. I completely respect them for this. They made up from last year's crappy E3 conference by giving the Xbox fans the Halo Master Chief Collection, and that comes with Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, and Halo 4. $60 for all 4 games, plus every single map for multiplayer, single player. You can play all the missions, and it's a great move by Microsoft. But was it enough to give it a higher grade? No, but why do I give it a B minus? Because the games that they showed were pretty exciting and pretty cool. It's all about games and nothing else. But the issue is, and a lot of people are going to have an issue with me and say, you don't have to be so technical about it, Roman. The thing is, it's the Electronic Entertainment Expo. I almost completely forgot. It's the Electronic Entertainment Expo. It's not games. I would have liked to see like a move towards Kinect. It's been failing, but try and rejuvenate it. Find something different. You don't have to show a dance game. They did show a dance game now that I think about it, and no one really cared. So they've got to think of something. Kinect has to be more fun. There has to be something that they can do with it, and I'm sure they'll think of it. Could release it at Gamescom in a month or two, or they could wait till next year's E3. But there has to be something with Kinect, because all Microsoft has is just its Xbox, and it's Xbox 360 and it's Xbox One. So, and Sony and Wii, they have their Wii, their Wii U, their Wii controllers, their remotes, they have all their extra things, but all Microsoft has is just their Xbox that plays games, and they got to figure out something. But I would have liked to see more of that. What really surprised me, and it the reason I brought it down so much, I could have easily given this a B plus or an A minus, but there was no Halo 5 gameplay. Now, I'm not a big Halo player and I wasn't freaking out about it, but the thing is, this there was a teaser trailer last year. It didn't have a title, it was just like, I think it was just Halo 5 or just Halo. And there's no gameplay this year, a whole year later. So I was like, why isn't there any gameplay? It doesn't make any sense. So I was kind of very, very surprised at that. I think if they wanted to win this conference over and like take over everything and just have a sweeping victory, they would have needed to show gameplay. They showed Crackdown gameplay, but people have a bad taste in their mouth from Crackdown 2, so I don't really think they're going to go out and buy Crackdown 3. Crackdown 1 was okay. But other than that, I mean, I pretty much expected everything besides Tomb Raider. I mean, I expected Assassin's Creed. I knew the Inside game was coming, but I didn't know what it was about. I knew they would show some love to indies, I'm pretty sure. Fable knew was coming. Ori, Dragon Age, Division. I knew everything was going to be there for Microsoft. Advanced Warfare for sure. I knew they would do some FPSs. So it's kind of just like, I wanted to see something that like blew me out of the water that was like, God, I need to get an Xbox. So besides, I thought Tomb Raider was more exciting than the Halo collection because, yeah, the Halo collection's cool. You can go back to like old graphics. You can do that with Tecmo Bowl on PS3 and Xbox. Is a little like mini game that you can buy. You can go back to the old Tecmo Bowl gameplay. So I found that really cool. I saw some exclusive footage on IGN's live stream for that. And Tomb Raider was awesome. I'm really excited for Tomb Raider. I love the first one. So I gave Microsoft a B minus as soon as the conference ended. I was like, this is an A. They did a really good job. It was all about games. This is an electronic entertainment expo, and they needed to show something that it's not just a game system. It's more than just a game system. It can do more. This is the next generation thing. You can watch. I can watch TV on my computer. I can watch TV on my cell phone. I can watch TV on my TV, just by clicking the input and output button. It's not like, oh my God, you can watch TV and Skype. I can do that all within here, right here. I can Skype on my computer and play games. So I really wish they would have done a little bit more with their system, but I guess they chose not to go that route and went with all games. I think they needed to make up for it. So I do give them the benefit of the doubt, and that's why they get a B minus. So moving on to EA's conference afterwards, to the worst conference of the day, C minus. I don't know. I don't know what to think. The best part about this conference was Battlefield and this crazy, I'm going to consider it the crazy racing action game, because that's what it looks like. You can like ride helicopters, ride motorcycles, do crazy things, glide, helicopter, just crazy things. So I'm going to call it the crazy racing action game for now by I believe it's by Criterion, unless it's the new IP that they haven't announced yet. So a new title that they haven't announced yet at EA, probably be released at Gamescom and or next year's E3, or sometime in between Gamescom and next year's E3. Really interested with that. We saw some trees, so that was great. They showed some Mass Effect. Now, I just recently got into the Mass Effect series, and it's a blast. Shepard's a great character. The game's fun. The gameplay's really, really fun. I really like it. I've yet to get into the second Mass Effect, but Mass Effect 1 is great. I love it. So we saw a little bit of that, but it was just more kind of like a dev diary, like, oh, here's what we're working on at BioWare. And then they showed Mirror's Edge, another dev diary. Oh, here's what we're working on. But they released a trailer last year, a CGI trailer for Mirror's Edge last year. And then they showed a dev diary and saw a little bit of gameplay, but not finished. So it's kind of like EA came unprepared and completely not ready. They just were not ready to go. PGA Tour 15 looks freaking great. Now, my brother plays golf. He's a big golf game fan. And I don't complain. I mean, when he wants playing a golf game against family members is totally fun. And then they come out and say it's Frostbite Engine 15 or Frostbite Engine 15, Frostbite Engine 3 or whatever. And I was like, I looked at it and I was like, dude, that's insane. And then all of a sudden they said you can play on some historic courses, but you can also play on these crazy courses. And I was like, what the hell? And all of a sudden you see the ship in this background. I'm like, oh my god, it's going to crash on the map, kind of like Battlefield. And then he hits the ball and his golf head is on fire. and all of a sudden you realize, oh my god, that's the Battlefield map from Battlefield 4. So that was crazy. I mean, games don't have to be for serious all the time. You can have a little bit of fun with it, have some extra game modes. I thought that was really, really cool that they integrated that Battlefield into there. NHL 15 looks great, looks smooth, looks fun. Am I going to buy it? Probably. I might get the demo. FIFA 15. FIFA 15 is not for me. Same thing every year. You can feel the crowd and you can feel everything. You're the next big soccer star, blah, blah, blah. Same old every year. UFC was cool. Bruce Lee, that whole thing was pretty cool, I guess. I didn't really like the gameplay. I thought it was kind of like choppy. It just kind of felt laggy a little bit. I felt like it was a little offset. Bruce Lee went up for a kick and he kind of just went like, like that. So that's what it seemed like to me. But I wasn't like super stunned. I know it's coming out on my birthday next week on Tuesday. Now, Madden 15, a game I want to get to real quick. When I first saw that screenshot of Colin Kaepernick and like the wrinkles in his jersey, I was like, excuse me, oh my god. They're actually putting wrinkles in the jersey and their tattoos. It's going to be so crazy. The wrinkles are going to move with the way they move. And we see some Madden gameplay. And every player has the same wrinkles in his jersey. And visually, it hurts my eyes. I mean, if that's a good way to put it. Because I was sitting there watching the trailer. I was like, God, this game is beautiful. I love it. I'm a big football fan, obviously, as you can tell by my YouTube name, The True Football Fan. But I'm probably still going to buy it. But it like hurt my eyes because it's just like a bunch of like wrinkles in the same spots as everyone's jersey. It feels like a really lazy move by EA, and I mean it's just EA. I mean they never really do anything crazy besides Battlefield, which I'm going to get to here in a second, and Mass Effect. But it just felt lazy, and the defensive thing, it was just defense. You've got this cone, and if you hit him on the edge of your cone, you might not tackle him, you might break the tackle, but if you get it right in the middle, it's like a for sure tackle is what I got out of it. And I don't really like that. It's just like I just want to go back to Madden. And the wrinkles thing, just really bothers me for some reason. It's not going to take away from the gameplay, but it hurts my eyes to look at because it's just like a bunch of wrinkles, and I was expecting like it to move more because it's next generation gameplay. So I don't know, that bothered me a little bit. But Madden, I'm probably still going to end up buying it. Richard Sherman's on the cover now, which is pretty cool. And then Battlefield Hardline. Wow. Every year they wow me. Last year, nothing is as crazy as last year's Battlefield 4 when they saw that skyscraper falling. My mind was blown. My mind was like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. And then they come out this year and they're like, what else can we make fall? So let's have a crane crash into a building and like rip the side of this building in half. So it's like, wow, that's so cool. And then it creates like this path from one building to another with this crane. And I thought that was really cool. You've got speed bikes, you've got cops and robbers. You know, every childhood kid's dream of being a cops and robbers. Now you can actually have it in the controller in your hands. Now, excuse my phone. They're at EA's press conference, and I'm watching it. I'm in my loft, kind of on the other side of the house. And at the end of this conference, they're like, and the Battlefield beta is going to go live right now on PS4 and PC. I hopped up off my ass and I hauled ass in here. And I legit sat in front of my TV for 15 to 30 minutes trying to get this beta, and I ended up getting the beta. I've played it. It's really fun. I really like it. It feels a little bit different, but it plays just like Battlefield. Obviously, you don't have a lot of access to guns. You use money now to like open attachments and stuff, and I really like that. That's pretty cool, kind of like a COD point style back in Black Ops. But Battlefield Hardline is pretty cool. I want to see a little bit more of it. They showed some more of it, I believe, at Sony's press conference, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I don't mind it at all. But yeah, definitely a C-. I could be missing a few games on here, but that's because I don't remember EA's conference. Besides these games right here, that Crazy Racing Action game has me very intrigued. This new IP has me intrigued. We don't know what the hell it is yet. And then obviously Mass Effect is really cool. But other than that, besides Battlefield, PGA Tour, and Madden, I'm like, everything was pretty crappy. It was really unprepared, just like these dev diaries that no one really cared about. We wanted to see gameplay. But what EA did is they're setting up for the future. They're setting up for 2015, 2016. Next year they're going to come out. They're going to have Mass Effect more finished. They're going to have Mirror's Edge more finished. They're going to have this crazy racing action game. They have this new IP. They're going to come out and they're going to be like, here, listen, here's the details. Here's what's going to go down. I hope you guys enjoy this, that, and the other. And then 2016 will probably be when we get Mass Effect. Mass Effect will probably come out November 2016 is my prediction. But definitely, they're setting up for the future. But this year's conference was pretty sloppy. So EA C-, Microsoft B-. Moving on to Ubisoft. Now, Ubisoft, I don't remember. I believe they showed some games. There wasn't a lot, but there was a lot of content. I believe they showed 1, 2, 3. I think they showed 7 games, but there was a lot of content from those games, which is totally cool. Ubisoft every year, loads of fun. I absolutely love it. Aisha Taylor is a total clown, totally hilarious. I love listening to her. She's just so funny. She's so fun to listen to. Now Ubisoft, and this is one of the reasons why they get a B-. They're on, I believe they were on par with Microsoft because Ubisoft came out and they had just loads of fun. They don't take things like completely serious besides The Division. And they were just like, we're gonna have a bunch of fun and we're gonna swear a lot. So it was really cool. It was like a yeah, this is a man's type of show from Ubisoft. So Aisha Taylor was definitely a positive. And they opened with a Far Cry 4 CGI trailer. After Batman Arkham Knight was delayed till next year, Far Cry 4 was like my #1 game on this list. I love Far Cry 3. It was loads of fun. I hated the ending. The story was a little choppy in parts. But the gameplay in itself, there was a lot to do, and it was loads of fun. The world was rich, and it was immersive. Alligators, bears, jaguars, tigers, loads of fun. So now it's set in the Himalayas, and Troy Baker is voicing this enemy, and I keep botching his name, so I'm not even going to try. But it's really, really fun. I thought the character you were was black at first, but then I realized it was just gloves. So, and then this villain, Voss was a cool villain. Voss was just like this psychotic, just insane, and I hated him. He was a really, really good villain. But this new villain, I keep forgetting his name. I wish I knew it for you guys. He's calm, cool, collected, and then he can just boom. If you snap that wire, he's going off. He just stab this guy for screwing up, and all of a sudden he comes back to you and he's like, here, let me take a picture. We're going to do big things together. And you see that you're actually a white guy, and he snaps his photo, and he's like, all right, we're going to do big things, and he gets off on this helicopter and leaves. And that was pretty much it for Far Cry 4 at Ubisoft, but then they continued it at Sony's, which is next, obviously. They showed more of The Division, and a lot of people aren't high on The Division, and I don't understand why. I think The Division is going to sneak under a lot of people's feet, because they're like, oh, it's just another shooter, and they delayed it. But games getting delayed usually mean better things, unless you're Duke Nukem, as I've said in past videos. Last of Us got delayed. Watch Dogs got delayed and ended up being better than it would have been. What else got delayed? Batman Arkham Knight got delayed, and that game looks incredible. What else? Mass Effect, I would assume it's getting delayed. Fallout 4 delayed. A few other games have gotten delayed, but I think this Division is going to sneak under people's feet and surprise a lot of people. But the issue I have with The Division is every gameplay they show is usually this scripted gameplay. And that's why I knocked off Ubisoft a little bit, because they did that with The Division, Assassin's Creed, and Rainbow Six Vegas. It was like, it's scripted, you can hear these people talking to each other, it's totally meant to happen that way. And that kind of frustrates me, and that's what, when I get to Sony, that's why it's a more positive for Sony, for the reasons at which that was handled. But The Division could sneak up under a lot of people's feet. I hope it plays out like the way it looks, but then again, it's scripted, so it's kind of like, is it going to be as good as it looks? Because Battlefield 4 is okay, it's average, but last year when we saw it, it was like, you go take this point, and you go snipe at the top of the tower, and you look at this angle, this, that, and that flag. So it's like, I don't really know how it's going to play out. Assassin's Creed, I was incredibly bored by. even at Microsoft's conference, just Assassin's Creed is so boring. I don't know what's left in that franchise. I mean, we've gone everywhere except Atlantis. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I played Assassin's Creed 1, I played Assassin's Creed 2, I played Brotherhood, and I played a little bit of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. And Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag is just kind of like, it's boring. It's the same thing over and over. Get on the top of this perch. You can look around there. You know the area now. You have these little markers. And it's kind of like, I want something new. I want something to be crazy. And they're just not doing it. Yeah, you can have 4 people in single player now. But I was just like, it's just co-op. And I don't know. I was a little upset by that. Assassin's Creed just doesn't impress me anymore. I was bored. I was on my phone. I was like, oh, how long is this 8-minute gameplay going to be over? It felt like 20 minutes. So, and let me go back to Microsoft real quick. Now that I think of co-op, I'm totally sorry. I forgot about Evolve. Now, Evolve, oh my god, this is a potential Game of the Year candidate. If I could pick 2 games right now to be potential Game of the Year candidates, it'd be Far Cry 4 and Evolve. Evolve looks like it could be something special. It's that Left 4 Dead type of style gameplay. You've got this new monster of the Kraken that shoots electricity. Badass monster. You've got your characters. You got to set traps. You've got to fight them. And Evolve looks great. I don't want to get into it too much because it could go on forever, but it looks phenomenal. It looks like it's a really fun game. Could be a potential Game of the Year candidate. Moving on, they had this Shape Up game. Now, when they came out, I was like, no one wants to play video games to shape up, so why are they showing this? And it actually ended up being a pretty cool, like, a fun type of game style, like a gameplay, like a fun family game. So they were doing push-ups, and it was, at first it was like a jukebox, and then a treasure chest, and then a whale, and then like this donut thing. So I thought that was really cool, just loads of fun. It gets your workout in, it's really fun. But it's not something people are gonna buy. I mean, if you're like a little kid or like 10 years old and you want to play with your family, that'd be something you get. But Ubisoft, it's just not. You just can't do fitness games. Leave fitness out of it. You don't go to game to. I sit down. I sit in a chair to game. I don't want to get up, move around. That's what outside's for. So I thought that was a little weird. And then they came out and showed Just Dance. Just Dance every year, same old, you're dancing, whatever. But it's just, that's what I'm saying, like these whole exercise games, I don't know why they show it. It's kind of like, I don't know, just desperate to add more to their conference instead of adding something new, like a new IP. But, I mean, it's just not impressive at all. It's just absolutely unimpressive. I mean, it's the same thing. New songs. You're happy, happy. It's boring. I mean, yeah, a lot of girls find it fun, but no way. And then speaking of girls, they decided to show Sims 4. And there was death in the gameplay. Nothing compared to Sony's at all, death-wise, but they had a Sims character die. And I was like, what? But it was, his name was Chuck, and he was like a hothead, and he got really mad because Gladys, something about a poem, and he ended up like dying because died of laughter, and it was like, and I was joking around with my brother, I was like, so unrealistic, fake game. But then they had the Reaper show up, and I think he took like a picture of him or something. But The Sims was there, Dragon Age was there as well. Same old Dragon's Age. You can actually be the villain and like set things up and like take down your the heroes if you're the villain. So they knocked out some games that a lot of girls are interested in. A lot of girls are interested in Just Dance and The Sims, and then Dragon's Age, I believe, was right before those two. And apparently girls are interested in Dragon's Age. And then a game that could possibly surprise a lot of people. The Crew looks great. The Crew looks like a game that I would sit down and play for hours. I have a soft spot for racing games. The first game I bought when I had a PS4 was Need for Speed Rivals. I just have a soft spot for them, and it's actually pretty fun. And the dude came out and said, now someone with a lot of time on my hands like me until I get a job. Someone with a lot of time on my hands, I could sit down and play a 2-hour mission from Miami to Los Angeles. That is stunning. 5 years ago, I was telling my family this. 5 years ago, I never would have expected to do something like this. I mean, maybe because 5 years ago I was 12, but never. I never thought I'd be able to drive across the United States, and to have it be a 2-hour mission. That is awesome. You can upgrade your cars to go off road and just not drive on the road. Plus, the graphics look great, and it's on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The crew is the real deal. The crew can come out and surprise a lot of people and end up being like, hey, we're contenders. We're not pretenders. And I would throw that right in with possible Game of the Year candidate as well. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, there's some issues that they could have with not enough people buying the game to get their crew put together, like 3 or 4 people. So there could be some issues with that. That's what a lot of these co-op games, like they show co-op, they show co-op, they show co-op, but like how maybe some of your friends aren't going to buy the crew, so what's the point in showing co-op? But the crew is going to be interesting regardless. I'd still buy it even if none of my friends got it because I'd play it for myself. It's visually stunning. You can drive from Miami to Chicago to Florida, New York, everywhere across the entire United States, and that's just amazing to me. It's just stunning, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm probably going to end up, as soon as I buy it, I probably drive from Florida to Maine to California. So the crew is going to be the real deal. It's a contender, not a pretender. And then they closed out the show with Rainbow Six Vegas-ish. It's Rainbow Six Siege. I just said Rainbow Six Vegas because I'm so used to saying Rainbow Six Vegas. So they came out with Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. And just like The Division, it's scripted. It's all scripted, and it's not going to be the same. There were a lot of elements that are really cool. Go in, save the hostage. You have a drone that can go under doors, see how the enemy's set up, figure out your tactical plan on the other side of the door. You have a time limit. It's 5-on-5. You can bust a hole in the ceiling, jump down, kill the enemies, take the girl out, and get away. But it was scripted, so it's like, shit, I see him over there. Here, let me go ahead and perch outside the building right here at this angle because I know he's going to be there. So it's like, just felt like, So I was a little kind of underwhelmed, but the gameplay was really cool. I really like it. It was typical Rainbow Six style. But I thought it was really interesting, but it was scripted, and it just kind of felt unreal, and I was kind of cringing. I was like, oh, it's not going to actually be how it plays out, so I don't know. But other than that, Ubisoft gets a B-. It was lots of fun. I enjoyed it. I was laughing. Aisha Taylor is definitely the highlight. The crew is definitely a highlight. Far Cry 4 is phenomenal. It's going to be such a great game. And then The Division is going to actually be the real deal next year. Moving on to the end of the day at the 33-minute mark. I should be getting this done right around 50 minutes. Sony. A lot of people have their issues with Sony. I do not. Now, I am not a fanboy because if I were a fanboy of Sony, Ubisoft would be getting an F, EA would be getting an F, and Microsoft would be getting an F-. But due to the fact that I'm not a fanboy, Ubisoft got a B-, EA got a C-, and Microsoft got a B-. So it was very fair in my judgment. I believe in all correct reasons in my humble opinion. And I enjoyed Sony's press conference almost all the way through. Sony, I give a low A-, so like a 91%. Now, a lot of people are getting mad at me, but let's pretty much run through like I've run through every other conference. Sony A-. They open with a phenomenal Destiny trailer. Now, here's how I look at Destiny. Destiny, I was like, Destiny really is kind of just like that game. It's like, oh my god, it looks so good, but it was scripted just like The Division and Rainbow Six last year. So I was kind of like, if they don't show anything at this year's E3 and I don't find something that's convincing to buy it, I'm not going to get it. Then they came out and they had this robot have this speech like you're the savior of the planets, this, that, and the other, and it sounded really, really cool. And at first I was like, "What's this game?" Because it shows like Planet Mars, and then it said Destiny or whatever, and then they came out and said, in November, with the PS4 bundle with Destiny, we're releasing a Glacier White PS4 with a Glacier White controller and a Destiny bundle with 30 days free on PlayStation Plus to play online for like $400 or something. I believe it was $400. And I was like, oh my god, all the gameplay I just saw, that bundle is going to be crazy. I'm not going to buy it, but that's really cool. The Glacier White is sexy on that controller. But Destiny blew me away. I was like, wow, this is a game I'm actually going to get, and it's probably going to be the first game I would pre-order after Far Cry 4. So I would have pre-ordered Batman Arkham Knight, but we all know where Batman Arkham Knight is, on the other side of the yearly calendar. But Destiny, looks so good. It looks so fun. It's going to be so insane. Looks like it's going to be lots of fun. And the best part about it is Sony players. I play PS4. I mean, we get beta first. July 30th. I believe it's July 31st. Closed beta. I believe it's closed beta. We get beta first, and we get to try it out first. And the game doesn't come out until November 9th. It's pretty freaking cool. I'm not going to lie. So, Destiny looks really great. I mean, could it be Game of the Year? Possibly, but I mean, it's got to compete with Evolve, Far Cry, The Crew. I mean, there's some games out there. I mean, don't count out Destiny. Next up, I have on here is Bloodborne, or also, and this is Project Beast. This is the thing that everyone was talking about. Project Beast is the initial Project Beast, and it ended up being called Bloodborne. Now, this is really funny because I was watching it with my sister. And we were sitting here, and this Japanese guy was on there, and you couldn't make out what he was saying, but you couldn't really like tell. But he came out and he's like, a game that I've been working on for a while now, and it sounded like blood porn, and I was like, we kind of looked at each other, and we were like, did you just say blood porn? And so it was really funny. I thought that was hilarious. But it ended up being Bloodborne. I missed the end of the trailer because I had to go to the bathroom really, really bad. But I ended up rewatching it and watched the end of the trailer, and it looks great. It's just a CGI trailer, but like the concept and the announcement of it is really cool. Am I gonna buy it? Probably not. And I was like, oh my god, this is so violent from something I'd see from Sony. And I believe they announced this after the biggest surprise of the day. Wait, let me look at the rest. Was this the biggest surprise of the day? For games? Yes. Yes, this was I believe Bloodborne was released, like, shown right after the biggest surprise of the day, Little Big Planet 3. No one knew. Everyone just forgot about it. They're like, Little Big Planet 3 is not going to be there. And I was like, I was sitting there, and all of a sudden you saw Sackboy in Little Big Planet 3, and I was like, oh my god, I totally forgot. I'm so excited. Little Big Planet 3 is an awesome Sony exclusive. It wants you to use your creativity and make you go to the next level, create all these levels. And they threw out some number that was like some billion-odd levels that you could play them on PS4 if they were made on PS3. So I was like, I totally forgot. My heart warmed up. I was like, I have Little Big Planet 1, I have Little Big Planet Racing, I don't have Little Big Planet 2, but awesome. I was so surprised to see it. Now, this is what I'm talking about. It was kind of meant to be scripted, and at first it was frustrating to watch. And then this girl that was the dog, she was definitely the weakest link, and they kind of screwed up, and they kept dying and whatever. But what was really awesome about it, and what really kind of upped Sony for me, is the fact that it wasn't scripted. It wasn't meant to play out that way, but they still had fun, and the audience had fun. Because when this girl's this new dog sack buddy character, she jumped, fell. Everyone's like, oh, jump, fell, oh, fell again, whatever. Jump, reached up, and she's like, yay, and everyone's like, starts clapping and cheering, and it obviously wasn't meant to happen that way, but people kept it up going and fun. And that's what's awesome about that conference. And that was one of the highlights. And that's why Little Big Planet 3 is one of the reasons this has a higher score. Because Little Big Planet 3 is a really fun game. It's a great exclusive. I really love playing the first one. loads of fun, story's great. But the fact that people were still energetic about the fact that they were failing. At first, it was kind of hard to watch. I was like, oh my god, just get through the gameplay already. Why would they get someone that can't even play the game? And then I realized, like, wow, this is actually really nice because I thought about it and thought about it. And I was like, The Division was scripted. Assassin's Creed was scripted. Rainbow Six Vegas or Rainbow Six Siege was extremely scripted. And I was like, wow, this is actually really freaking cool. And I really enjoyed it. I actually had a really good time. I ended up laughing. I ended up kind of being like, yeah, cool. So now they have 3 new characters. They have, instead of the original Sackboy, they have the Sack Dog, I'm going to call it. They have a Sack Bird, which is probably the coolest character. It can fly, swoop, pick up characters, and carry them, which is kind of like a cheat. And then they have this super big Sack Buddy character that he can turn really small, go back around something, jump on it, turn big, push it down, raise up, whatever. So they're definitely being innovative. Sony is awesome at doing that type of stuff. They're totally creative. They like to have fun with their games. They brought a variety of games to the start. And Little Big Planet 3 was definitely the highlight because it was just fun. I mean, you were just kind of like, wow, it wasn't meant to be like this, and it's kind of frustrating, but it's kind of cool. I mean, it's refreshing to see something like tactically take over Sack Buddy's position. But, I mean, so I had a really good time. I actually, Little Big Planet 3 was awesome. And then, I don't know what to say about Far Cry 4 other than that it's going to be freaking great. It's beautiful. The Himalayas look great even though it's cross-platform. Oh my god, that game looks so beautiful. So fun. Seeing that little red dot sight was like a reminder of Far Cry 3 because they have the same red dot sight. And I was like, wow, this is loads of fun. You have elephants now, and the elephants were rampaging throughout this like fortress, and then you were in a car, and then you could do a takedown on the passenger, and then you could reach over, knife him, take over that car, and I was like, oh my god, this is totally awesome. And I'm like, there's nothing that could be better than this, and then all of a sudden he jumps off, and he's hang gliding through the Himalayas, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. You could like, I forget what it's called, like, I'm just going to hang glide, whatever. You can basically like fly through on Far Cry, but the hills weren't as big, but you're in the Himalayas, you're in the mountains, and he's flying through, and it's visually stunning. You can see the mountains in the background, you can see the snow, and all of a sudden you see this multiplayer player come in, and I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool. You can have co-op single player, just like all these games nowadays. And he finishes the level, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden, dude from Sony comes out and he says, exclusively to Sony, when you get Far Cry 4, you can play your typical single player, but you can also play co-op. Even if the player you're playing with does not have the game. And I was just like, oh my god. Please take my money. That is such an awesome exclusive. It's only for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. So let's say I have the game, Far Cry 4, or my brother or my friend Jonathan doesn't have the game. And I'm like, alright, I kind of need help with this level. I need to get carried through. Who can I invite? Let's see. I can invite everyone on my friends list, even if none of the rest of them have the game. That's so cool. It's just magic. It's just magic. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like, it just happens. So, mind blown. I was like, nothing can get better than that gameplay I just watched. But then it was just like, oh yeah, here it is. Here's the fact that you can invite people that don't even have the game and still play with you. It's amazing. Just absolutely stunning. Awesome exclusive for PS4 and PS3 only. That was great. We'll get towards those at the end. And then they showed Let It Die, and I was like, God, Sony's violent as hell this year. But it was a variety of games. You had your creative Little Big Planet, you had your Bloodborne, which was violent, you had your Destiny first-person shooter, and then you come out with Let It Die, and Let It Die was just like this hack fest, and just blood, and just guts, and hearts, and all this mess, and it was so violent. And it's not a game that I would buy, but it looked really cool. A lot of people are going to buy it. It appeals to a certain audience that's into that type of game style, but it's not my flavor. So that was really cool to see. It was definitely a variety to start, and also entwined. Entwined is an indie game, and I had heard about it right before the conference started. And I'm like, wow, this kind of sounds interesting because indie games are appealing to me. I like to have fun, a cheap price game, and just have loads of fun for hours. So I heard about Entwined and I saw a gameplay. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. The story is really nice, and you can turn into a dragon. But it was really interesting, and they were like, I was expecting a Microsoft, which I should have touched on, by the way. Microsoft released 2 free DLC today for Forza Motorsport Horizon with a special racetrack, and they also released this crazy long Super Ultra Street Fighter X Alpha DLC for Dead Rising 3. But I was expecting like an Entwined is free on PlayStation Store right now, and then they said for $10, and I was like, oh man, I was about to go buy it. I had my controller ready. I had my PS4 PlayStation Store open. They're like $10, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna put $10 on it. I'll just watch gameplay. So Entwined looked great. Now there's a game that came out and surprised me. It started, and they were talking about this like notebook thing, and send your letters in, and we want to know what you guys want to see. And it ended up being we want to see more zombie games, and I was like, oh great, another zombie game, dying like Sunset Horizon, whatever the hell it is, Sunset Overdrive. So all of a sudden you see this dude with a zombie bite on his arm, puts a wristband over, puts his earbuds in, and he's jogging along the beach, and I'm like, he's got the attitude of like a Sunset Overdrive game. You can see zombies in the background blowing shit up. Absolutely hilarious. I was laughing. It was funny. I just had a few little chuckles. I wasn't like rolling on the ground. But you saw them taking down helicopters and limos. You thought were going to hit him, but they didn't hit him. And he was just kind of jogging. Then all of a sudden you started seeing his body decay, and he turned into a zombie. And you see this dude come up behind him in a van and hit him with a bat, and the trailer ends. He's like, dude, I got some nice kicks. And he compares it to his shoe, and that was really funny. And the title comes up, and it's Dead Island 2. And I was blown away. At first, when I saw it, I was like, come on, Sony, don't pull another like copy off of Sunset Overdrive. That's what it felt like at first. And it ended up being Dead Island 2. Was not expecting it. I was like, oh my god, Dead Island, what? I totally forgot about that game. I'm also so glad it's going to be the Dead Island 1 was freaking fun. Had lots of fun with that game. But now that Dead Island 2 is going to be there and premiered at Sony's conference, was really cool. Was blown away, was not expecting it. So make that 2 games I was not expecting at all. Moving forward, let's go ahead and talk about The Last of Us Remastered, just to get it out of the way. Nothing special, they remastered it. But the issue I had with it is that they showed spoilers. I've already beaten the game on PS3, so it wasn't really a big deal, but they're like, may contain spoilers ahead. So you're going to show a trailer at one of the biggest conferences of the year with spoilers. So it was nothing super spoilery, like there wasn't any dialogue, it was just music and like, beautiful shots. So glad they remastered and put it on PS4. Am I going to drop $60 for it again? No. I love playing it on PS3. I'd love to have it for PS4 if I got a chance to play it for free. If it became a PlayStation Plus game later and then next year, I would totally get it. But is it worth paying $60 for again for just a graphics upgrade? Absolutely not, but it looked beautiful. Ratchet and Clank Remastered 1 and 2 for Sony PS4. That's awesome. I was hoping they would do something with a Ratchet and Clank, Crash Bandicoot, Sly Cooper, or Jak and Daxter, and they ended up doing a Ratchet and Clank Remastered and then a Ratchet and Clank movie. That's going to be really cool. We all know a Sly Cooper movie is coming. If you don't know that yet, yes, a Sly Cooper movie is coming. It looks great. It's just like the Ratchet and Clank CGI trailer. Ratchet and Clank looks pretty cool. I would definitely go and see it myself. So that's really cool. And then the Order 1886 is interesting because when I saw gameplay recently, I don't remember what kind of games conference it was at, but I was underwhelmed. I was like, this is the next big PS4 exclusive. I was kind of like, man, I don't know how I feel. I saw the gameplay was a little weird, but then they showed gameplay today, and if people don't realize that there's a lot more gameplay in this trailer than you think. When he's holding that lamp and he's carrying it and he's walking, that's gameplay. When he's falling, it's a cinematic cutscene, but only for a second. When you start crawling away to get to your gun, that's gameplay. And then when you see this zombie transforming into a werewolf that can talk now, which is totally badass. I think that's so cool, shooting werewolves in like a dark type of scape. It's like a thriller, horror, third-person shooter adventure action game. So was I underwhelmed by the Order 1886? There was like 3 minutes of like game time, but I was actually kind of impressed. It definitely raised my expectations a little bit, but I wasn't like, damn, I need to pre-order this game right now. And then we got a release date for it, February 20th of next year. They delayed it, and I'm totally fine with delaying games as long as they end up being good. Last of Us, Watch Dogs, whatever. So I thought the Order 1886 was okay, whatever. And then moving forward, we got PlanetSide 2 free to play, totally cool. Infamous DLC, loved Infamous Second Son. It was actually Infamous Son was okay. It was like a little bit of slightly above average. And they released DLC for like the origin story of Fetch. Awesome neon powers, looks beautiful in game. I would totally get it, but it's just DLC that I can watch gameplay online. Just like the Batman DLC, I don't buy it. I can just watch it online. So that's gonna be really cool for whoever gets that. And then they released 2 indie game trailers. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be running this long Sony, but there's a lot here for Sony that you could touch on because there was so much going on at their conference. It was ran for almost 2 hours. So they released 2 indie games. One I'm going to talk about right now, and one I'm going to talk about towards the end because it pleasantly surprised me. One is Abzu. Now, Abzu, I was seeing this thing, and I was like, this looks weird, like this little fish helmet thing. It's just an indie game, so I'm like, oh, it's an indie game, blah, 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 whatever. This Abzu game is there, and you're listening to the sound of this game, and the sound for this game is absolutely phenomenal. Now, if I believe this game Abzu comes out this year, I would buy it because it sounds great, it looks fun, it looks like a fun adventure game, and it could win Game of the Year for best sound or best sound editing, whatever, best soundtrack. It sounded great. The only other game that could compete with that is Inside, that Microsoft revealed, and Abzu sounded just stunning. You were swimming with the whales, and the whales sounded like right there, and I was listening to it on my computer. So Abzu sounded great. I'll get to the other indie game later. Moving forward, I'll get to the big 3 games that were revealed at the end. But let's go ahead and talk about Mortal Kombat X. Finally showed gameplay trailer. Obviously the awesome Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight we've been waiting for with gameplay. And then we saw 2 new characters. I don't know the name of the characters. They were not in the last Mortal Kombat 9. But Ed Boon came out, one of the creators of Mortal Kombat, came out and said, here it is. I'm bringing 2 new characters that weren't in Mortal Kombat 9, and they look pretty cool. One was a giant with a little girl on the back, and then one was like a little wasp-looking girl. And then it was Scorpion and Sub-Zero in the other fight. Really cool. Sub-Zero makes a clone of himself out of ice, throws it at him. The X-rays look awesome. That's what's cool about Mortal Kombat 9, or Mortal Kombat series. You can die like 5 times, and you can still play and have plenty of health. So Mortal Kombat 9, or Mortal Kombat 10, excuse me, I'm definitely going to buy it. I loved Mortal Kombat 9, and I'm expecting an late April release date for Mortal Kombat 10, just like Mortal Kombat 9 next year. Is there anything I haven't touched on? GTA 5 Next Gen, was not expecting it. It was a rumor. It was a heavy rumor. And I was like, they're not going to do it. What's the point of doing a GTA 5 Next Gen? No one is going to drop this type of money just to see it on Next Gen. I mean, someone would. But would I? No. I wasn't entirely thrilled with GTA 5's missions. But the world was rich and the multiplayer was fun when it was working. So obviously the engines will be updated. The graphics looked great, especially on that PS4 1080p. Looked phenomenal. But I was talking to my friend about it. He's a big GTA fan. And he said, I asked him, I said, you saw the GTA 5's coming out on next gen, right? And he's like, yeah. I was like, so are you going to get it? And he's like, I'm not willing to drop another $60. And I was like, well, all your data from Xbox 360 and PS3 goes to next gen, even if you have an Xbox One as well. All your data from PS3 can go to Xbox One. All your data from Xbox 360 can go to PS4. That's badass, really cool. I'm glad that Sony got to show that. But he's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth another $60 just for a graphics upgrade. So games like GTA 5 and Last of Us should have been delayed till November because those games should have been meant to come out on next gen first, and that's why they remastered both these games for a graphics upgrade, just to get that money. And it's all about the money, guys, plain and simple. If you don't think it's about the money already, then I don't know what's wrong with you. Saying that as nicely as possible. And then moving on to the middle of Sony's press conference. I'm trying not to rant about this for too long. I did not have an issue with it. Like I said at the beginning of the show, a lot of people sometimes forget what E3 stands for. Electronic Entertainment Expo. Electronic, 1E, Entertainment, 2E, Expo, 3E, E3. Sony brought everything to the table by showing PlayStation Now and PlayStation TV and powers. Last year, Xbox showed TV, and very little games. But what Xbox did wrong, that Sony did right last night, what Xbox did wrong is just the wrong way to do it. If you're a next generation console, you got to do something crazy. I want to show that you're the next gen console. You can play games with this TV-esque type of thing. But what Xbox did, we already knew we could do that anywhere. Here's what Xbox said. Microsoft said, you can watch TV on your Xbox. But like I said earlier in the show, I can watch TV on my iPhone. I can watch TV on my computer. I can watch TV on my TV. I can watch TV on my other TV. I can watch TV on my other computer. ESPN. I can watch ESPN on the Watch ESPN app. I can watch ESPN on the WatchESPN.com. I can watch ESPN on ESPN. You can watch NHL. I can watch NHL when it's on the sports channel. You can watch NFL games. Watch NFL on Sundays. You can watch NFL and play. I can watch NFL on my computer and play games at the same time on PS4 and TV. You get the picture. Everything that Xbox showed last year, Microsoft, you could already do it. Yeah, it was a little bit more difficult, but you could already do it. Yeah, it's in one whatever. You can Skype and play video games at the same time. Why do I want my best friend's big head taking up a portion of my screen? Why would I want that? I want to be able to play games, and I can still Skype. Look, turn the computer, boom, sitting right there. Guess what? I'm still playing games and Skyping at the same time. So, it might just only work for me. A lot of people might have the capabilities that I have, but it's nothing out of the park. So what Sony did, and why I give them an A- is because of this middle part. They showed a TV device, and it was called PlayStation TV. It launched last year in Tokyo, and if you rewatch the conference, or if you don't want to rewatch it, you can go to the part where it begins to start this PlayStation TV segment, and Sean's out there, and he says, it released last year in Tokyo, and they completely enjoyed it, and one dude in the upper stands is like, oh my god, and he points at him like, you know what's about to go down, PlayStation TV. PlayStation TV, a lot of people don't know about. This has already been released. This has already been worked on. People have already used it, and people love it. And from what I can gather is the fact that you can plug in PlayStation TV to your television, regardless of what television you have. If you've got a DualShock PS3 controller, you can play over 1,000 games on this little device on your TV. That's what I gather out of it. It comes with a cord. It comes with this little box. And if you already have a PS3 controller like me, you can play over 1,000 games in seconds. It's like its own little PS3. Now I could be interpreting that the wrong way. I could be wrong. But when you think about it, that is awesome. That is next gen level stuff. And the price, $100 freaking dollars. $100 freaking dollars for something this big for over 1,000 games that's worth over more than $10,000. I mean, stunning. Stunning. That is next gen level stuff. And that's why a lot of people are like, oh my god, they talked about TV just like Microsoft. That's why they sucked. Microsoft sucked last year, so Sony sucked this year for TV. It's an electronic entertainment expo. If you're just expecting games from E3, you're insane and you need to stop watching E3. I'm trying to be as nice as possible, but really, if you think of the Electronic Entertainment Expo as meant for just games, you're insane. And Sony did it right. Sony did it right. They didn't do it the wrong way where they said, you can watch TV, you can do this, you can do that. But this whole TV segment with upgrading and numbers and all this was phenomenal. To see how many hours people have plugged into PS4 already is great. And then they come out and they say PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now is like open beta, opens in July. And what you can do is you can play old PS3 games through like a subscription on your PS4. old games on my PS4. Finally, they did it right. They did it right, and that's why they're getting an A minus. I'm not even done yet. They opened this little TV segment that they had with the camera, and people started laughing. Haha, camera goes Connect. Connect is bad. Connect is just very, very poor piece of equipment. It's not used correctly. They're approaching it the wrong way, but it's a very poor piece of equipment as of right now. But they came out with this camera and they said, you can go ahead, this, that, and the other, we're upgrading to Project Morpheus. I don't want to get into Project Morpheus too much because it'll take forever. Go ahead and look at Project Morpheus and read about it on Google. Oh, stunning stuff. Incredible next generation stuff. This is the next generation type of unit. This is the unit. The PlayStation 4 is the next generation unit. In Project Morpheus, they said you can go ahead, hands-on at our booth tomorrow, go ahead and come check us out. And then they come out and say YouTube. We don't have a YouTube. PS4 doesn't have a YouTube app yet. Okay? And sometimes I accidentally say we because I've been around PlayStation all my life. But the PlayStation 4 app does not have the YouTube app yet. And they came out and said, oh, we've got YouTube. And I was like, oh, yay, finally YouTube, so I don't have to go on my computer. I can just watch it on my PS4. And then all of a sudden he said, because we have, I keep saying we, Sony's controller, the DualShock 4, has the share button. And you double-click the share button. When you go to your video clip, you edit it a little bit. You can just send it right to YouTube. You can upload it right to YouTube. Next generation level gaming. Next generation level gaming. I mean, a lot of people forget about this stuff and they say, Sony's conference sucked. Sony's conference sucked. Yeah, it was slow because we just had this upbeat Let It Die, Little Big Planet, and then you had Dead Island 2, Bloodborne, Destiny, Glacier White PS4, Far Cry 4, Abzu, and then Order 1886, Powers. You had all this crazy stuff, and then it kind of slowed down a little bit. But it was good. It was good because it showed next generation level stuff. This is the stuff we've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. This is the stuff that takes gaming to the next level. So I don't want to get on PlayStation Now for too long. That's awesome. You can play old games on PS4. Totally cool. There's a beta coming out. Going to try and get into that. PlayStation TV, totally cool. Then they showed this thing called Powers. Now, this thing called Powers, they did this TV series. Xbox did a TV series as well. It was called Forward Unto Dawn. It was like this movie thing. And then they also did this Halo Nightfall project that they showed. TV and video games, they just don't mix. There's no necessary reason for it to be there, and that's why I kind of dumb it down a little bit because I don't know what to expect. But once I started listening to this artist or this writer talk about Powers, I was like, wow, this is actually really interesting. And everyone who has PlayStation Plus can watch all of it for free. I'm totally down with for free stuff. I don't know who's not. I'm totally down to watch Powers. I'm a big superhero guy. You can see my comics in the background and my books. Totally big superhero guy. So Powers sounds really cool, really interesting. Sounds like it's got a great story. The guy that used to have powers doesn't have powers, but all these other people are running and doing bad things. Sounds totally cool. The Forward Unto Dawn thing totally failed. Totally. I tried to watch it on Netflix. Literally, 10 minutes. I cannot get past 10 minutes. It's so bad. So hopefully this Halo Nightfall works out. I want everyone to succeed. I want everyone to do well. I'm a gamer. I love to game. So hopefully it succeeds. But this Powers thing is really interesting, and it sounds a lot more interesting than a Halo thing. I think if Xbox moved away from Halo and tried to do their TV stuff, it'd be cool because that's what Sony is doing. They're like, here's this Powers thing. We'll focus on Powers. Whatever. And then moving on, after PlayStation Now, PlayStation TV, Powers, and Project Morpheus, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the other indie game I was talking about earlier, No Man's Sky. Best thing I saw. Hang on, take it back. Third best thing I saw at E3 today. Because No Man's Sky, when you look at it, I was like, oh, this is a weird indie game. And you look around, there's dinosaurs, and you're flying in a ship. You can go underwater. You can go to outer space. You can crash other ships. You can go to other planets. I was thinking about it. I was like, there's something about this. And I realized everything that's in this game is what we dreamed of doing as a child. we wanted to walk with the dinosaurs. We wanted to fly. We wanted to be around dinosaurs. You wanted to go through the forest. You wanted to go to other planets. You wanted to be in a spaceship. You wanted to visit other planets. You wanted to go underwater and be able to swim underwater. And No Man's Sky is basically saying, like, sky's the limit. You can do anything. And the guy that came out and talked, and I kind of like rewatched it, he felt moved by it. He great response. The game looks great. It looks visually great, and it looks like loads of fun. Now, they could enhance it a little bit. There has to be a story behind it. But from what I saw, it's like everything I wanted to do as a little kid is right here, and there's always a little bit of little kid left in us. And this is what I'm talking about. Sony has variety, and they brought variety to the conference, and they brought electronic entertainment. They brought everything to the conference, and I'm not even done yet. And at this point in the show, I'm like, this is 2 years in a row. I don't want to like declare a winner because we don't know what Nintendo's going to do yet. But Ubisoft and EA weren't very good. Microsoft was very improved upon last year's E3, but it wasn't like super phenomenal. We were expecting everything they showed us besides Tomb Raider. And when I saw No Man's Sky, I was like, God, I'm going to get this game. I'm going to buy this game because it looks like loads of fun. And he said, you start at a different planet, you can go travel different planets, and no two players will have the same experience in No Man's Sky. Next gen level indie game right there. And then they showed some other indie games, like cool little 8-bit games. Loved it. Loved this little indie montage that they have. So they're definitely giving more love to the indies. I love it. Indie games are totally cool with me. And then let's move on to the three of the top 4 biggest pieces of news at Sony's press conference. Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain is gorgeous. The trailer was mixed up, but the music was great. It looked, oh my god, it looked beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's only a cinematic trailer, or CGI trailer, CG trailer, but god, it looked great. I could be mistaken. It could be in-game footage, in-game cinematic sequence, cutscene, but it looked great, looked beautiful. I'm really excited. I'm going to buy it. Now, I wasn't big on Metal Gear Solid till Metal Gear Solid 4. I didn't play Ground Zeroes. It wasn't worth the buy. I just watched gameplay. Will I be buying it? Probably. It looks beautiful. 200 times bigger. Huge map. Real life day and night cycle. So when it's nighttime here, it's nighttime in there. When it's dusk here in Arizona, it's getting dusk in the game. When it's dawn in the game. So that's totally badass. That's next gen level gaming. It's cross-platform. Love the trailer. I'm definitely going to be buying it. Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. Next up, and I almost got a tear in my eye, because it was my most anticipated game of this year after seeing the announcement trailer, and that is Batman Arkham Knight. I'm glad I got to show up at Sony's press conference to get the best possible quality of gaming. And literally, I was sitting here, and the bat suit was all coming together, and I was like, just take all my money, WB and Rocksteady. Just, here, take it. So, I was getting ready to just throw it all on the table. And then he's gliding, and you can see the cape. It actually kind of flutters when you're gliding, and he's zooming around. And then he has a target on the ground, and he smacks into the ground. And guess what? The Batmobile turns around the corner. He immediately jumps in the air, falls into the Batmobile, and he boosts and takes off while driving. And then when you drift or turn a corner, the fins move up, and you're like, I'm just like, please, dear God, I just want to cry right now because I really want this game today. I want it in my grasp, and it's only 40% through, but it looked like 100% done until one scene. But it was so funny. I was laughing at myself. So he's driving around and whatever, and all of a sudden he gets into battle mode, and it's chink, 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 whatever tires come in, and he's strafing with the Batmobile, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so incredible. I'm freaking out. I'm sitting here, my sister's laughing at me. I want this game so bad. Batman's my favorite superhero. Love the Arkham series. Probably my favorite video game series. Phenomenal. Freaking nominal. And the trailer wasn't done yet. So he's strafing, whatever, and he gets back into driving mode. And he's driving, and he automatically launches off the Batmobile. Out of the Batmobile and into a glide, and he glides into where the objective is at Penguin's little cave thing. And I'm like, oh my excuse my language. But he gets into a vent. Instead of opening the vent and pushing the grate like you're used to, this is an older, grizzled Batman, so what he does is slides through the vent all the way through and lands. He starts walking, comes down, and he lands on the pile of money that Penguin's like all kissing up on. He's he's interrogating him. Who's this? Where's Scarecrow? Or like, where's Arkham Knight? I don't remember. Whatever. I was so mind blown at what Batman has just been doing for the past 5 minutes. And so he's talking to him, and all of a sudden you see like these little, it's like freezing, and I'm like, no way, Sony, you totally botched the conference if it's freezing up a Batman. And it kind of started going in, and then it started freezing up again. I'm like, Sony, oh my god, no, what are you doing? You had a perfect conference, near perfect conference, and all of a sudden you saw like zzz, 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 and you kind of like started catching on to the sound, and all of a sudden you just saw Scarecrow posted right there. I just got the chills right now, because I was just thinking about it, and Scarecrow's sitting there, he's giving his little speech, and I was like, oh my god, so it was meant to be like that, and all of a sudden it comes up and zooming in on his face, and the Scarecrow looks up, and he's got like this mask, and you can see his teeth under it, and he's got like the wiring, and you can see his mouth moving behind it. It's totally CG. It could be in-game, totally CG. And he was talking, and he's like, I'm going to make your precious Gotham burn. And all of a sudden, Batman Arkham Knight. And I was like half alive. I was just like, they had to show it. They had to show it to the second to last game. Nothing can one-up this. Whatever you do, Sony, even if you show The Last Guardian, there's no way you can one-up this. And he just like posted right. I'm just posted. I'm like, I just want E3 to be over. I want to sleep until Batman Arkham Knight's release. Phenomenal freaking trailer. Glad it was towards the end of Sony's press conference. And then we got a little treat from Sony themselves. A Sony only exclusive, probably a PS4 only, next gen only for PS4. It comes out and it says, all right, we're going to end off the show here, but we're going to leave you with one more little clip from a game studio that's been doing great things for Sony and has really captured the Sony spirit. At first I was kind of expecting, of course I was expecting, like a Naughty Dog, Uncharted, or a Last Guardian, or a God of War, kind of like in one. Kind of just throw us off. So we get 3 amazing trailers that we've been looking for. But what happens is, it's just Uncharted. But it comes up and says the following has been captured from PlayStation 4 footage. And once he even said, like, the studio's been helping PlayStation, like, become who they are, I knew it was Naughty Dog. And it says the following has been captured on in-game PS4 footage. I'm sitting there and you can hear water in the background. And all of a sudden you see Naughty Dog come up. Getting the chills right now. Naughty Dog, Uncharted 4. And all of a sudden you see Nathan Drake's face in the water, cut on his forehead, right here, kind of like mine. It's weird. Facial hair, he looks older. Nose is different. Complete detail with the hair, the shirt. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a CG trailer. It is not a CG trailer. That is in-game PlayStation 4 footage, and it lived up to the hype. If you go back and look at my E3 hype video from Sunday on my channel, people I've been hearing, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, Uncharted 4's graphics are 15. I know it's just a cinematic sequence, but the thing is, the cinematic sequences in Uncharted look a lot like their gameplay. So he's laying there, and he gets up and hears Sully in the background talking to Nate, and it was obviously done in the past. So he's talking to Nate, and he says, "Come on, just one more." Or Nate's talking to Sully, and he's like, "All right, come on, just one more trip, one last ride." Little like, let's go out with a hoorah. And you notice that there's a wedding finger on Nate's ring, which is really interesting. And you see this fly buzzing around on his head, whatever, and a lot of detail there too. And then he gets up, and you can see the moonlight reflecting off his shirt. And then you can see like his shirt's like totally wet, and great detail in Nathan Drake. Oh, it's so awesome. So I'm just getting the chills, just sitting there, and he's talking to him just one more time. And Sully's like, "I don't know, kid." And Nathan's like, "Come on, man. I know you want to do it, Sully. Just for one more time, just for me and you." He says, fine, or something like that. And then he walks off into the forest, and it pans over, and there's these skeletons in like these cages, and the trailer ends, and it says Uncharted 4. I'm like, oh, it's just called Uncharted 4. And it was like, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. And I was like, oh, please don't be what it means. Please don't tell me Nathan's dying, because I probably will end up crying. I love the Uncharted series. Nathan Drake is one of my favorite all-time video game characters, no doubt about it. Great depth to that great character. Great character overall. So A Thief's End doesn't necessarily mean Nathan's going to die. No, it could mean Sully. Sully was a thief as well back in the day, if you don't remember from Uncharted 3. So pretty much that is it. That is my video. I went 1 hour and 15 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you stayed for 1 hour and 15 minutes, applaud yourself right now. Clap, 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 clap. Give yourself a pat on the back. So basically, let's run through Microsoft B- should have shown Quantum Break. Nothing really sensational besides Tomb Raider. EA gets a C-. Worst conference of the day. Not prepared at all. Mass Effect, Trees, crazy racing action game and sports. Ubisoft gets a B-, on par with Microsoft. Scripted gameplays, but Far Cry 4 looks phenomenal. The Crew looks a possible Game of the Year contender. And then Sony gets the best press conference of day 0 with an A-. Glacier White PS4, Destiny looks great, Bloodborne, Dead Island, Batman Arkham Knight, Uncharted 4, Let It Die, Entwine, No Man's Sky looks phenomenal. Great entertainment. Project Morpheus, PlayStation Now, PlayStation TV, YouTube. GTA 5 and Next Gen premiered at the PlayStation press conference. Mortal Kombat X gameplay premiered. PlanetSide 2 is going to be free to play. Order 1886, Infamous DLC, and the new Powers television show that will be released on PlayStation with a bunch of variety at Sony. That is why they get a higher grade and get into the A's at a 91%, because there's a bunch of variety at theirs. Scripted Ubisoft, crappy, unprepared EA, and it's about an upgrade from last year's E3 in a very average year for Microsoft. Pretty much expected everything. Nothing blew me out of the water besides Tomb Raider, which is a CG trailer, by the way. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment below. Who won E3 Day 0? Was it Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, or Sony? I don't want to get in crazy debates with you guys. This is my honest opinion, my humble opinion. I completely respect your guys' opinion, but after thinking about it more and more, seeing more highlights, looking back on each conference, I really wanted to analyze and go in depth, and I think Sony is the for sure winner of Day 1. I'm not a fanboy. I gave respect where respect is due. Sony fanboys would never give respect to Microsoft, and I gave respect to Microsoft. They had a good conference. It wasn't bad. It wasn't super phenomenal, but it's definitely good to great. Definitely very good. EA just, Ubisoft scripted but great games, and then Sony took the cake with variety and entertainment, because it's the Electronic Entertainment Expo. Electronic Entertainment Expo, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and hit that share button to get the word around on what I think about E3 Day 0, my thoughts, games, everything. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Every day for these 4 days for E3, I'm going to be doing a video. I'm going to be watching the live stream all day tomorrow, all day Wednesday, and all day Thursday. I cannot be at E3, so why not be at E3 in front of my computer? So I hope you guys had a load of fun watching this video. Go ahead and hit subscribe, like I said, to keep updated on all things E3 here first on my channel, The True Football Fan. I know it says True Football Fan, might change it up a little bit. If someone can give me a snazzy YouTube name that has to do with video games, superheroes, sports, all this stuff, it'd be greatly appreciated. And then go ahead and hit that gray like button and turn it into a beautiful green like button. If you completely hated the video, go ahead and dislike the video. That is your opinion, not mine. And go ahead and leave a comment down below on what you thought, and did you enjoy this commentary. And if you stayed for an hour and 18 minutes, you get a virtual cookie and a virtual high five from me. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to go to bed. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Peace.